Good afternoon. Point is importance of testing. So according to the Moore's law, the feature size is decreasing, the defects are unavoidable. So the testing is required to guarantee the fault-free chips, and the product quality depends on the following parameters, that is the test cost, test quality and test time, and the DFT, the game changer. So what is testability? The ability to put a design into a known initial state and observe internal signal values. The circuit without DFF, the circuit is controllable and observable. Circuit with DFF, low testability. So the two basic properties determine the testability of the node, controllability and the observability. We have already seen in detail what is controllability and observability. Controllability is the ability to set a node to a specific value. Observability, the ability to observe a node's value. So the testing of the VLSI system is a big task for both the designer as well as for the test engineer. Both of these encounter difficulties in testing the prototype, which can be mostly attributed to three facts. The one is usually there is no means by which the circuit can be modified during the test to make it work. Second, VLSI systems are very complex system, and third is it is not possible to probe a circuit node for monitoring or excitation because the entire surface of the chip except the pads is sealed by an overglass layer. So the fault should be detected as early as possible in the fabrication of any product, and in this connection the rule of 10 becomes applicable to the cost involved in testing, and it is worth mentioning. So the fact comes to light is that the mistakes committed during design or fabrication of chip prove very costly, both in terms of money and time, because it increases the time to market, and the approach of design for testability helps eliminate this, and it is an essential part of good design. At the design stages itself, the requirement of testing must be considered, and a necessary and sufficient measure of testability should be incorporated into the architecture. So it is even worth to dedicate 30% of the chip area for the purpose of testability. The types of testing circuit. The combinational, there are basically two types of testing circuit: combinational circuit testing and sequential circuit testing. Combinational circuit testing means fault model. It consists of fault model, path synthesizing, random test, and sequential circuit testing consists of scan, path test, built-in self test, in that built-in logic block observer and signature analyzer, and boundary scan test. So the path synthesizing, we have already seen the combinational circuit testing. The fault modeling is one of the type. Due to the defect during the manufacturing of integrated circuit, there is need to model the possible fault that might occur during a fabrication process, and this is called fault model. So stuck-at fault and transition fault. From the beginning of the DFT, the stuck-at fault model is the most popular fault model used in practice. This is mainly due to the process variation, imperfection during photolithography, etching the metal. Now the transition fault model. The transition fault is similar to the stuck-at fault in many respects. The effect of transition fault at any point P in circuit is that rising or falling transition at P which will not reach an observable output, such as a scan flip-flop or primary output within the desired time. So here diagram shows the faulty circuit at the fault-free circuit. The next is method to test the transition fault. So here the delay test require a vector pair to detect a fault. Since the pattern must be applied at the rated speed, at speed testing is needed. For full scan circuit, both the vectors in the scan flip-flop must be ready for consecutive time frames to ensure speed testing. Several different methods are used to apply the vectors at speed. The transition faults are detected through a scan chain, and there are two methods to detect the transition faults: the skew load or launch from shift, that is LOC, and skew load or launch from shift, LOS. So here diagram for these two are shown. Next is path synthesizing. Path sensitizing. The previous approach is, as it is not feasible for practical point of view, because if there are too many wires, then it will have too many faults. So better alternative is to deal with the several wires that form a path as an entity which can be tested for several faults using a single test. So it is possible to activate a path so that the changes in the signal that propagate along the path have a direct impact on the output signal. Now here is a diagram which shows the path is activated by ensuring that other paths in the circuit do not determine the value of the output F. So here is one more diagram to synthesize a path through an input of an AND or NAND gate. All other inputs must be set to 1. Next is built-in self-test. So capability of circuit to test itself. There is concurrent operation and non-concurrent operation. In concurrent operation, simultaneous with normal operation, non-current is idle during the normal So the built-in self-test is with the increasing complexity of the VLSI system, the test generation and application becomes an expensive and may not be an effective testing. Further, the high speed at which a newer VLSI system are designed to operate may not be possible to be simulated, and this may create a problem. These aspects can be well handled by incorporating BIS, that is the built-in self-test, which is mainly focused at reducing the volume of test data, the cost involved in test pattern generation, and the test time. So all these points can be covered by integrating the automatic test system. The test includes linear feedback shift register, built-in logic block observer, and signature analysis. Now this diagram shows the architecture of the BIS, that is built-in self-test. The train to add the test logic to the IC is referred to as a built-in self-test. It is a set of structured test technique for combinational and sequential logic, memories, multiplier, and other embedded logic block. In each case, the principle is to generate a test vectors, apply them to the circuit under test or a device under test, and then check the response. So we need to add logic to the IC so that it can test itself, and this is called as built-in self-test. The built-in self-test is often used for testing memory. Here the controller enables the write data. Controller enables the write data generator and address counter so that the data is returned to each location in the RAM, and then the address counter and read data generator are enabled. The data read from each RAM location is compared with the output of the read data generator to verify that it is correct. The test circuit can be simplified by using a signature register. A signature register compresses the output data into a short string of bit which is called as a signature, and it is compared with signature for correctly functioning component. A multiple input signature register combines and compresses a several output stream into a single signature. The read data generator and comparator have been eliminated and replaced by MISR. So one type is to form a checksum by adding up all the data types stored in the RAM. The linear feedback shift register are often used to generate the test pattern. So test pattern generation, the test pattern generation is exhaustive, pseudo-exhaustive, and pseudo-random. Test response compression, ones count, transition count, parity checking, syndrome checking, and signature analysis. Test pattern generation for the BIST are exhaustive testing, Then JTAG and boundary scan. So what is JTAG? JTAG is Joint Test Access Group. It is IEEE 1149.1 standard. It is normally used to verify that the circuit has been mounted on the circuit board correctly, so that the JTAG specification define a method to test device functionality and connections to the other devices on a board through a test access port and boundary scan. So here basic JTAG architecture is shown. It consists of test access port that is tapped with 4 or 5 pins, a set of registers, instruction register, bypass register and data register, and a tap controller which is a finite state machine, that is FSM, with 16 steps. JTAG is a methodology which is used for testing and quality assurance for the debugging. It also specifies a mode which is called BIS, that is built-in self-test. It is used to limit the number of vectors that need to be clocked through the scan path. A device placed in the BIS mode generates a pseudo-random test vector as a stimuli, compares internal output against expected result, and it indicates the success or failure. JTAG also used for the external testing of connections to other JTAG devices. The boundary scan register. Now the here is the diagram which shows the boundary scan register. It is placed at the chip periphery in between the input-output pad and the internal logic, which consists of the boundary scan cells and support both the testing of the internal logic of the chip as well as the interconnects of the chip with other chips. So JTAG method is employed for testing and quality assurance and for debugging. Use of JTAG to test the internal output failure, also to test the internal circuitry. Here is the outline of the typical test procedure which is used in boundary scan. So the boundary scan shift register prevent output from reaping as a data is shifted through the shift register during the scan operation. The test set is scanned into the boundary scan register. By using a scan in a port with the test stimuli input, the response of the circuit is captured in parallel by BSR in series and scanned out through scan-out port. All the BSR are interconnected to form a chain around the border of the circuit so as to form a single path. The boundary scan path is having a serial input-output cells, pads, and add a appropriate clock pads. So here is the boundary scan architecture. The boundary scan path is having a serial input-output cell. The cells or the pads are provided for interconnection between the chips and internal self-test. The various tests that carried out by the architecture IEEE 1149 are sampling and setting chip input-output, connectivity with test between the component, distribution and collection of self-test and built-in test result. Next is the tap controller. So tap controller is a synchronous finite state machine which responds to changes in the input signal, that is TCK, TMS and TRST, to tap and accordingly control the sequence of the operation of JTAG. It is a 16-state finite state machine which controls the scanning of the data into various registers of JTAG. The sequence is decided by TMS input. So the top level schematic of the test logic defined by IEEE standard includes 3 key blocks. The tap controller responds to the control sequence supplied through the tap, that is test access port, and generate the clock and control signal which are required for the correct operation of the other circuit. So there are instruction register. The shift register based circuit is serially loaded with the interconnect with the instruction that select an operation to be performed. Data register, there are a bunch of shift register based circuit, the stimuli required by an operation are serially loaded into the data register. Then the function of tap is, here is TCK. TCK, this pin in the JTAG test clock, it sequences the tap controller as well as all of the JTAG register. This pin is the mode input signal to the tap controller. The state of the TMS at the rising edge of the T clock determine the sequence of the states. TDI and TD0, this pin is the TDI is the serial data input to all JTAG instruction and data register. TD0 is the serial data output for all JTAG instruction and data register. It changes the state of the falling edge of the clock and is only active during the shifting of the data through the device. Then test access port controller. There are 4 pins: TMS, TCK, TDI and T0. We have already seen it. It is a 16. We have seen that it is a 16-state finite state machine which controls the scanning of the data into various regions of JTAG architecture. State of TMS pin at the rising edge of the T clock is responsible for determining the sequence of the state machine. There are 2 state transition path for scanning the signal: TDI into the device, one for the shifting in an instruction and one for the shifting data into an active data register determined by current instruction. And here is the diagram of tap controller logic. Thank you.